All righty. Good afternoon, everybody. We got about 86 of you guys in here in the chat. What's going on, guys? It's about 2:32 p.m. here on Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday afternoon. Sorry, Wednesday afternoon. Got my days mixed up there. We do have a severe weather threat this evening up in the western part of the UP. Go ahead and dive right into this. So we have a level 1 marginal risk that extends over into the west central part of the UP with an level 2 slight risk further to the west toward Ironwood, Houghton, those areas. That's in yellow. And the enhanced risk is sitting just off to our west. Okay. Hazards today mainly going to be a concern for large hail as well as damaging winds. So the wind threat extends all the way over to that end of the marginal. The hail risk did get pushed back to the west just a bit there. It is going to be higher the further west you go. Okay. So main concern, hail. Second concern, wind. And then also a potential here for a brief tornado or two possible. SPC does have that 2% risk nudging into west of our western. The SPC does have that 2% risk pushing into the western UP there. It's not a very high concern, but it is a concern. Nonetheless, they'll be watching it closely. The environment would support potential for one or two tornadoes across the area. So we're going to watch that regardless. Okay. As far as timing on this goes, we're looking at roughly the 9 to 10 p.m. Around that time frame here. We're going to see these storms. This is at 9 p.m. Eastern time. If we zoom way in here to the western UP, we're going to notice that line is going to start pushing into the state here. This is at 10 p.m. here. It does look to be more potent over to the west across Minnesota as well as Wisconsin. But we could see that line hold through, and it's expected to hold through. This is at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then it's daylight time. And then as we move into the midnight time frame, that line will weaken, but still get some strong gusts that are residual on that line of storms here. And it does move into the lower part of Michigan, roughly 2 to 3 a.m. So don't be shocked if you're up in there in northern lower, if you get a thunderstorm overnight tonight. Those are not expected to be severe, but don't be shocked if you get woke up to a heavy storm, perhaps some small hail and some non-severe gusty winds with those storms, depending on how strong they are. But overall, no severe risk today in the lower part of Michigan. It should be tied pretty much to the UP starting around that 9 p.m. Eastern time frame here. So we'll be tracking that as we get closer to the 8-9 p.m. time frame. We already have our streams ready to go. So we'll be live covering severe storms today in the UP, but also we have a risk tomorrow. I know a lot of you on here are wondering about tomorrow's risk. Now, we're going to have a separate briefing for that at 7 p.m. tonight. But I do want to give you just a taste of what we're seeing here. The latest SPC update did shift that slight risk a little bit further to the south, but extended the marginal for the entire lower peninsula here. So if you live in the lower peninsula or eastern UP, you would be in that risk tomorrow. And we are seeing a risk for all hazards, including tornadoes as well, if you live in that yellow area further south. Okay, so we're not going to dive too far deep into this. We're going to wait for our afternoon models to come out to get a better idea. 7 p.m. tonight, we're going to focus on tomorrow's risk. We want to focus one day at a time. This briefing was meant to be for tonight. We're going to stick with that. But I know a lot of you guys on here are wondering about Thursday. We'll cover that at 7 p.m. tonight. But just know we are seeing that risk develop, and it's still on track for tomorrow afternoon and evening. All right. For time frames for tomorrow, Cheryl, again, we'll get specific later on. Joel is making a timing map right now, or soon, should I say, but roughly that 3 p.m. to midnight time frame tomorrow. Now, focusing back here on tonight, these storms are probably going to arrive after 9 p.m., probably going to be closer to that 10 or 11 o'clock time frame. We'll be live here if need be, okay? Any questions, guys? And again, no severe weather is expected today in the lower peninsula. These storms that are watching up here in the UP tonight will track toward like Gaylord, Traverse City areas, but they could be on the not strong, but like gusty winds, 30 to 40 mile per hour, possible small hail, pea size, perhaps dime size as well, being a possibility. Nothing severe though is expected in lower Michigan today. We'll dive into the slim tonight. Again, this stream is focusing on tonight's risk. We do have a separate stream scheduled for 7 p.m. tonight. That's going to focus on tomorrow more in depth. So if you're wondering about tomorrow in depth stuff, we're going to go a lot more in depth on that tonight. Cheryl, I'm going to say potential. Let me pull up exactly where Paradise is at. You should be. Hold on. Yeah, you're going to be focused more so on tomorrow's risk, although you are in a general thunderstorm risk. Could see some later on tonight. The more so severe potentially would be more focused on tomorrow for you up there in Paradise. Yeah, so this is today's outlook here. So you see the light green down here in lower Michigan. That's just your general thunderstorm risk. And this outlook goes all the way up until 8 a.m. Tomorrow morning. So between now and 8 a.m., this outlook is valid. So anytime between those two time frames, we could see some general thunderstorms here in lower Michigan. Okay. That's pretty much goes for the entire state, minus the bottom three tiers of counties there, or three counties there: Lenawee, Hillsdale, Monroe, and parts of Wayne there as well. They don't include those counties. But again, looking at the model here, as far as our uh, timing goes and everything, the UP tonight, 9 p.m. afterwards. And then as we get closer to that 4 or so a.m., I clicked on the wrong sector. Hold on, guys. Here we go. This is at 10 p.m. Eastern. And then that line's going to travel across the UP, possibly severe. Then it arrives in lower Michigan. This is at 3 a.m. So around the 3 a.m. time frame up there in northern lower, expect thunderstorms. That's going to push southeastward here. It's going to weaken as it does so, though. But still, we could see, number one, you could see a good shelf cloud if we get lightning with this. And then also, it shouldn't be severe, but again, gusty winds as well as small hail would be possible as that pushes in overnight. Okay. Main concern, though, tonight is going to be up in the UP. Yes, guys. Everybody talking about that boom here in Southeast Michigan. I was sitting here doing some of my other work that I do, online work, and I just heard like a rattle, like a boom upstairs. I live in a two-story house here, and I thought my cat fell or something or brought something down. I ran upstairs there, and I was like, "What's going on?" She's just looking at me like, "Hi, Dad." I'm like, "Okay." Look around, nothing. Come to find out, though, that was a sonic boom. So there was a jet testing out of Toledo. So those of you who heard a big boom about 2:15 today in Southeast Michigan, that was a sonic boom from a jet, a military jet. So, and that freaked me out because that was loud. What's up, Joel?
Hello.
Any more questions about tonight, guys? And again, we're going to go more in detail regarding tomorrow's risk here across the entire state or entire lower peninsula. We'll go more in depth tonight at 7 o'clock about that. But we do have that risk first and foremost for tonight we're going to focus on. So if you guys have questions about tonight's risk, let me know or let us know. Sky, your Flint risk is going to be more so focused on tomorrow. We'll cover that more at 7 p.m. There are some areas that may get more coverage of storms. We'll go into that more in depth, but the further south and further west you are, the higher chance the higher probability, should I say, of a storm happening would be further south and west for tomorrow. And lower Michigan, for tonight, and guys, is completely fine for severe weather. We're going to see general thunderstorms overnight, 2, 3, 4 a.m., pushing southeastward, starting in northern lower, down towards central. Michigan, nothing is expected to be severe, though. So let's separate our days here. We have one risk today, which is this map right here. Dark green and yellows are your severe risk. General thunderstorms here in light green. And this outlook is valid until 8 a.m. Why would the storm weaken over the Lake Michigan? Primarily, Aaron, that's because of cold water temps. It's stable air. As we warm those water temps, though, that issue should go away as we get further on in the summer.
We call it a surface inversion. If we pulled up a SCU-T, we could kind of show that to you, but we don't really have. I don't think we can really pull up a Lake Michigan SCU-T.
Lansing tonight, you're fine, and probably until that sunrise, 6, 7, 8 a.m. Onward. And that's just going to be for general thunderstorms. Severe risk for tomorrow, though, does include Lansing. When is tornado season? We're in it right now. Tornado season, basically for Michigan, peaks between June, July, and August. But we can have tornadoes any month of the year, including January, February, December. We can have them any month of the year. Today's supposed to be worse. It's kind of hard to say, like, pre-event. I would say tomorrow overall across the region has potential to be worse than tonight. But still, a risk is a risk. It really just depends on who it impacts.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think tomorrow has a higher ceiling overall, but not for Michigan. I'm talking like Illinois, Iowa, Missouri. We're going to talk about tomorrow's risk at 7 p.m. tonight.
Bookmark it.
The stream is already up on YouTube, so if you guys want to put the notification bell on for that, go to our YouTube channel, click on the live tab, find the one scheduled for 7 p.m. tonight. It should give you the option to notify when we go live. Is it below average year for severe reports? I do not know that, Matthew. I think we're pretty much on track overall. I wouldn't say tornado-wise, we're still below average at 9. We usually have 16 or so. But overall reports, I think, are pretty much on par with average right now. We're just coming up to our most active seasons as well, or months, should I say. We're coming into active season, so... Storm popping up tonight. Sure, we can do that real quick. This is a model here. This is at 9 p.m. The line we're going to watch is up here and pushing into Wisconsin. And then it hits the UP roughly. This is 10 p.m. Eastern. That should be the approximate arrival time here, give or take an hour or so. And then it pushes across 11 p.m. here. Here's midnight. Here is 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4, 5, 6, and 7.
The question remains, will we sleep tonight?
I hope so. I hope so.
Nice haircut. I actually just rolled out of bed like an hour and a half ago. This is my bed hair.
Joel has been up every single night, probably until 3 in the morning, I'm going to say.
Yep.
We were both up for the SPC Outlook at 2 a.m. last night, and we were on a call here working on some stuff. So it's been late nights for us, but we're used to that. Should Lenawee worry tomorrow? I would say yes in terms of severe threat. I do think more details are needed to give you a definite answer of like when and what. But yes, Lenawee is in a severe risk tomorrow. In fact, it is in a slight risk, which is the highest that we have for the state tomorrow, level 2 out of 5. Again, we're going to cover it more in depth tonight at 7 p.m.
Someone was wondering if you could check out the dews for today.
We can do them in real time if we want to, but we can do the model here. All right, so the bluish color is going to be your 60, and then the greens are upper 50s or so. And it says there's 60 dew points coming into the Western UP at 9 ahead of that line. I'm going to say probably right around 60 or so, and then it kind of fills back in tomorrow across lower Michigan. So right around 60 or so. It'll be higher tomorrow.
Yeah, so not too humid today for Lower Peninsula, especially. 60-degree dews are not bad.
Current dew points, I'm going to pull that up over here on my other screen.
While you're doing that, someone asked what's some advice you'd give to an upcoming meteorologist. I'm going to school for my degree in that. First of all, congratulations. It's a good degree to go for. Advice from a fellow meteorology student as myself: study hard and know your math, because you have to take through Calc 4. So it's a lot of variables, a lot of letters being the answers and stuff like that. So definitely study up on your math. Definitely get the help if you feel like you're struggling at all, because professors, they can curve, but they usually are very when it comes to that. If the class is all doing bad, then obviously they will, but it's a tough degree. You definitely want to take advantage of your study habits as needed. I'm waiting for the comments to say, oh my gosh, Calc 4. Yeah.
Chance of severe tonight in the UP, and then the lower peninsula tomorrow is going to be your risk. I have a friend who lives in Belleville, scared of thunderstorms, wondering how bad they're going to be here tomorrow. It's kind of hard to tell in advance. You are in a risk tomorrow as far as timing, afternoon, evening. But again, we're going to have to wait just a little bit longer to lock down our forecast here. I do think the overall risk tomorrow is more of a wind and hail over a tornado risk. So if she's worried about that, you can calm her down with that. The chance is quite low tomorrow. Not zero, but low. It should be primarily a hail and or wind risk. Again, we're having some trouble right now with models pinpointing exact areas. Some models actually don't fire any storms up at all in the state, and others do. So we're kind of split between what we think is going to happen. So we're going to wait for the afternoon models and then form an opinion based on those.
Yes, I will have the timing map up later tonight, probably after the 7 o'clock live stream, unless, the later I wait, the more accurate it'll probably be. So it just depends.
Yeah, we got coverage possibly tonight, so we're probably going to be live here. So before that 10 p.m. time frame is going to be probably the cram everything in. We need to get crammed and then hop on here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, last night I think I posted the timing map. It's 11:30, I believe. So it was pretty late, but with severe weather coverage tonight, I'll probably be a little bit earlier for tomorrow.
What is the risk for Kalkaska area? It'll be early morning. Yes, Christina. I wouldn't expect anything severe, but expect storms with potentially non-severe gusty winds and maybe some small hail as well. 4 a.m. or so, general time frame for you. And then again, additional storms are possible on Thursday. So I'll have to kind of wait and see how that plays out. But yes, overnight tonight for Kalkaska. Possibility of enhanced in Michigan, not seeing that right now. We have to see a major uptrend to get that. How come the weather apps on iPhone don't show anything? Because weather apps are good for temperature and sometimes precip chances, but they are nowhere near as good as severe weather forecasting. All I'm going to say is do not rely on your weather apps to tell you when severe weather is going to occur. Rely on the SPC, meteorologists, storm chasers. Rely on your trusted sources over your weather app.
That's why we're here. Chances too early to tell if storms in Wisconsin might move into the UP. So that's tonight. most likely, yes, they will move into the Western UP. Ryan will probably loop it again here just to show you, but expect, especially Western UP, go back, Ontonagon counties, especially when that Boeing segment comes on shore. You can expect at least some damaging winds, perhaps some large hail embedded. I know that the significant hail risk butts right up to the Michigan state line, 30% hatched. So, and a hatching contour on a SPC map is for like significant reports. So you have your odds of damaging winds and hail, and then you also have, and goodness, it's a loud dog. You have your percentages, and then you have a zone of hatching, which is for like significant reports. So a significant hail report would be 2 inches in diameter. Damaging winds would be, I think, 75 miles per hour and higher.
Here we go. This is 10 p.m. here. 11. And time's up there in the top left, too, if you guys can read that. 11 p.m. Here's midnight. And here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So
I feel like we've had lots of back-to-back severe weather days lately. Is that normal? That is very normal, actually. What comes from the west must go east in most cases, and we see that all the time. It's kind of like a 1-2 punch sort of thing, and that's kind of a good case for tonight. Do you think they will change the EF scale again? So they're currently in the process of, I think, of adding more damage indicators to the EF scale, and perhaps changing a little bit of the lower bound and upper bound winds for some of the DIs. But again, we'll see that all when it comes out. It's still probably a couple months away, if not maybe like a year or two. So the engineers have to get together on that and still kind of present themselves to the National Weather Service. Now that enhance comes right up to about Ironwood there. And that is for that 30% chance of hail in the orange zone. Yeah, if you know anybody in northern, especially in northern Wisconsin, northern Minnesota today as well, feel free to pass this word along. Maybe they do not know what's coming. But good risk today up there, 30% wind, 30% hail, 5% tornado. No, they don't. I don't think the scale is going to go higher than a 6. We can't even get a 5 right now. We haven't had an EF5 in the United States in 11 years.
that's not a bad thing either.
Right.
But still, EF3, EF4 still going to cause, your life's going to change if you're affected by it, no matter if it's an EF3 or EF5.
Mm.
You guys are my local news. Well, thank you, Kimberly. I wouldn't call us news, but I'd call us more so weather. We got your weather.
Local weather. Yeah.
We need a Michigan news chasers. Independent truth reporting.
Yeah. Just in the line between marginal and slight. So it's 25 miles of a point. So, and it's all odds. So you can just kind of pretend like you're in the highest one. Was there an event that made you want to get into meteorology? I personally don't, because it was kind of like a first grade dream for me. I tell everyone all the time that my first grade teacher, who's, I think she actually follows this channel. I'm not sure if she's watching though. She had like a weather person of the day thing, and I kind of just took that over. And I was also looking outside all the time instead of paying attention in class in first grade. So that was another thing. But yeah, I think really the one first severe weather event that I remember the most was probably that 2011, April 27, 2011 in Birmingham, and seeing the tornado live on TV cross the horizon behind Birmingham. That was something. We took a trip to Birmingham, I think like a year or two before that. So it was like, oh, we were just there. Yeah. Even an EF3 can like change a whole neighborhood forever. I mean, we saw what EF2s do in Portage and Colon and stuff like that this year. Grand Blanc. Again, those are only medium range. We call them significant tornadoes. Significant is EF2 and EF3. Violent tornadoes, EF4 and EF5. They're no longer called F. That used to be called the regular Fujita scale. The winds were a little bit different for that. They revised it in 2007, so now it's the EF scale, so enhanced Fujita. Named after Ted Fujita, who's sadly no longer with us, but he is a great ambassador to the science community and wind damage and stuff like that. He used to go out and used to be like the Tim. If anyone knows Tim Marshall, he kind of used to be like the Tim Marshall of the old days, where he'd go out and rate all the tornadoes themselves because it was his own scale.
What's up, Heidi? Are you guys surprised at how many people were craving or needing this type of weather info service? Not really. Not really. In 2024, all I'm going to say is we have multiple ways to get information, and social media was not very well used, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And it's honestly still not very saturated in this market. But are we surprised? I'm not, personally. Do you think we are getting more tornadoes than we used to? No. We are getting more reports of tornadoes as people become more aware and social media becomes, more established. People have easier ways to report those, whereas some spin up tornadoes that could happen and go unnoticed are getting reported now. So I'm going to say no, we're not getting an increase of tornadoes. We are seeing awareness increase, though.
How they handle things when the T word was banned. So tornadoes, again, was not really a term until the early 50s. Before then, it was what they called career suicide. So if you mentioned it on TV, you're basically fired. Obviously, thankfully, that's not the case anymore. But back then, forecasting was not as great as it was today. They would literally just launch balloons and get the data back and be like, all right, well, we don't have any models, but we can kind of see what's going on up there. So they just surveyed, or they just kind of forecasted it as severe weather event or major windstorm or something like that. And they just did whatever they could to not use the T word. But again, if you did, you're basically like, all right, well, I'm going to say what I want and get fired. It was because they didn't want people to freak out. Simple as that. You could still say tornado. It's just you couldn't say it really like on the news or in forecasts because again, forecasting was not as great. Sorry, Ryan.
It's okay. You saw a comment asking if we are on more alert ever since the Livonia tornado. Alert more so, no. Spin-ups can happen like that in Michigan. It's not uncommon to see those, but at the same time, it does kind of change the wording we want to use sometimes because I know I never said the threat was zero, but I said it's unlikely. It's et cetera, et cetera. But the tornado chances here in Michigan are, I guess, never really zero, even though wind shear and stuff like that isn't, as favorable. Mm-hmm. Just got to communicate that better to the public sometimes, and I don't think we did a good job with that, So it's just you got to learn from it. It's not uncommon to see freak incidents like that happen. So,
yeah, I remember I was tracking that on our live stream here as just like a little area of damaging winds. So, as you guys have to remember, like damaging winds can still cause more damage than the tornado itself. So, we always anytime we see like higher velocity on radar, we're always going to advertise it as, you want to be inside away from windows, away from like an exterior wall because those trees can come toppling down. And unfortunately, we saw a direct impact of that last week. It's been 1 week, right? Yeah, 1 week today. 5th of June. But yeah, we've always kind of known that Michigan does its own thing. So we're not usually like surprised or more on alert when this stuff happens. We're just like, well, boundaries, microscale accidents, it happens. But we just learn from it for sure.
It's super hard to explain how it all works together. And honestly, we don't really know ourselves sometimes. We only have really guesses. Like with that Livonia tornado, we have really no idea what caused that, but we have an idea like a lake breeze boundary or a storm merger, but we don't know 100% for sure. So when you get to those micro scale events like storm mergers or boundaries, we can't predict those in advance. We can't say, hey, we're going to have merger at this place. We can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always best just to be alert.
Yeah, I think you did a pretty good job explaining that on our YouTube video, or the YouTube video you released there, Ryan, or how you had that cell, like what actually happened for that to come together was we actually had that north moving cell along an eastward moving line, and that just spun up right at the right time. And you have southerly winds like that in any storm, you're going to get at least some sort of rotational influence. May not be as strong, but in that case, it was enough to put down a brief tornado. And again, tornadoes are rated on how much damage they occur and not usually how often the winds are, unless you get like an instrument that actually is really close to the proximity of a tornado and measures it. And still then surveys will, debunk that or something like that. They usually do that.
I see a lot of questions asking about tomorrow. So we're going to cover tomorrow in depth tonight at 7 p.m. This stream is focused on tonight's risk in the UP, but this is your day 2 outlook for tomorrow. Level 2 risk down here in southern Michigan, but the entire lower peninsula, including parts of the eastern UP, are also within that level 1 risk here. So we'll have updates on this tonight as regarding to like timing and all that kind of stuff. But for right now, the entire lower peninsula and parts of the eastern UP are in a risk. So if you're asking about tomorrow, I see a lot of questions here about the lower peninsula. You are in a risk tomorrow. We'll have more tonight though. 7 p.m. tonight, guys, for tomorrow. Right back here on YouTube and Facebook. Mm-hmm. Take it one thing at a time.
Yep. Make sure to turn on notifications just in case you happen to forget. I know it's possible on YouTube if you subscribe on YouTube. Again, subscribing on YouTube is free. I know the word subscribe, you think, subscription, but it's free. It's just the way they say it on YouTube. So feel free to follow us there. And then turn on post notifications like I just mentioned if you don't want to miss out. But otherwise, you can just put like a mental note in the back of your head. 7 o'clock. We'll be back. And then our wall-to-wall coverage will be starting sometime around the ballpark of probably 9 to 10 this evening.
All right. Going over tonight one more time. I think we're good to hop off here after that, though, Joel. Been about 35 minutes. So tonight we do have that slight risk for western UP, for places like Houghton, all the way down to Ironwood. Or toward Marquette, we do have a marginal level 1 risk in dark green there. And then further to the east and south, just a general thunderstorm risk. Not expecting severe weather at this point in time. As far as hazards go, large hail and damaging winds are your... Hold on. Here's your large hail map. It's going to be, again, highest risk off to the west towards the Ironwood area. We have a 30% hatch for significant hail sitting just off to the west as well. So it's close by. Keep an eye on that. Wind as well, a hazard here. Again, highest risk in the western part of the UP, but there is a risk that extends all the way to the east central as well. And then also a risk for a tornado is quite low, although not zero, especially in the western UP where we see that green color just kind of split there toward Ironwood. So if you live in the, we'll say 2 or 3 counties in to the western UP there, just be alert for a possible spin-up tornado tonight as those storms move through. Looking at the model, we do have a line of storms expecting to hit the UP here roughly. This is at 10 p.m. Eastern. I know some of you guys up there are in Central, so this is 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. This is at 11 p.m. 11 p.m. Central here. Here is midnight. Here is 1 a.m. These storms will move toward the lower peninsula. They shouldn't be severe at this point in time, but this is about 3 to 4 a.m. as they cross Lake Michigan and they enter northern lower by Petoskey, Traverse City areas. Okay. So main time frame 9 p.m. to roughly 2 or so a.m. for severe weather. After that, we should be dying down as these storms cross Lake Michigan. All right. We'll be live again tonight at 7 p.m. to talk about tomorrow's risk. We do have a severe risk in place for the entire lower part of Michigan here, with a slight risk down toward Lansing, Ann Arbor, Kalamazoo areas. We'll talk about this in detail with timing, hazards, and our thoughts as well at 7 p.m. tonight back here on Facebook and YouTube. All right. You guys have a good afternoon. We'll see you guys in about 4 hours. Thanks, guys, for watching. Do us a favor. Like the video on your way out. It helps us out a lot. That's all I got.
Yep. Madison, tornado did hit Crawford County back last week. So you weren't crazy there. But thanks so much for tuning in this afternoon, everybody. We'll be live here again in 4 more hours. So again, feel free to hit the subscribe button on YouTube and turn on post notifications so you can be alerted when we do go live.
All right. We'll see you guys in about 4 hours.